Yo, Super Fun Force, welcome back to the Beyblade Lab. Today we're going to talk about the most competitive combos as of Dynamite Battle and the release of Savior Valkyrie. And for the standard, we will use the Dynamite Battle Standard Stadium, which I believe is sanctioned officially by the WBBA. And I would agree because it is the most balanced stadium. It is large. It has a bowed-in center here for stamina defense. It has tornado rings to kind of help prevent a little bit of the knockout, and an upper rail here to possibly create long smash attacks. Two large knockout KO pockets, so very balanced overall. Stamina, defense, and attack. And the two most powerful Beyblade combinations you can have are Boom, Vanish, Boom, Dynamite. And with this particular setup, you're going to want to use Armor 6, Taper, Drift, and then for this setup, you're going to want to use currently available F Gear, Giga, and Never. And let's explain why. First of all, Vanish, ever since this was released by Takara Tomy, this is the absolute tank. Now, as you can see here, it has these hollowed out rubber sections here to absorb impact, and it has the hard plastic metal dragons here that are also hollowed out. So there's a good balance of shock absorption and counter smash attack. And there's the balanced Armor 6, and of course we have this in low mode. Taper being the stock forge disc is perfect because, as you can see here, creates just a slight gap here of armor, additional armor, and then of course the wide tapered out base lends itself perfectly to centrifugal force, stamina, and then you pair the drift driver, which has phenomenal mobile stamina, and of course final spin. Now, the interesting thing is, when you have this setup, when you launch rather light, there's a good chance that you can control it to keep it here in the center. However, when you do launch a little bit harder, and as Vanish gets attacked throughout the match, it will become mobile. And if you launch a little bit harder, it will start to follow along the tornado ring, which is good because this actually gets knockout potential as far as hitting other Beyblades out of the stadium, or hitting them up against the wall to lose stamina. Now this obviously makes it a little bit prone to being knocked out itself, but once again, this is heavy with rubber shock absorption. All right, and then now we'll take a look at Dynamite. Now Dynamite, with the new F gear, has given it also, again, a combination of slight attack power increase in being able to ricochet rubber, or it can also absorb hits a little bit better, but overall it is very great. The attack pattern itself is a great balance of being able to knock opposing defense and stamina Beyblades out of their initial momentum, and at the same time, this can also attack back other attack types. Now, Giga is probably the heaviest by a slight margin, so it gives us a strong combination of a central weight, but also, as you can see, it goes outwards to help with the centrifugal force and the stamina. Never also helps create basically the lowest profile setup here, with the sharp tip being, again, phenomenal for stamina, and then adding that plastic white area outside helps keep the driver and performance tip very level, right? Because again, with pointed tips, and then when they're pretty much like long and narrow, then they can be knocked off balance by ball tips and stuff like that. So this combination here creates a very low profile Beyblade that can attack and knock people from underneath, and at the same time it just has such good amount of stamina. All right, well, let's throw them into a battle together to see how they just go against each other. And the reason why I say these are the two best Beyblades is that if you're going to build combinations that are going to be competitive and to win, you want to at least test them and see how much of a chance, let's say out of 10 battles, can you defeat a Vanish Fafnir, can you defeat the Dynamite, right? Because if you stand no chance at all, then essentially you're just going to have to realize that you're going to auto lose those matches and hopefully have better chances against other competitive combinations, and that you have an overall strong enough 5G team that even if you auto lose to a Dynamite right now or a Vanish, that you could still win overall in points. But again, this is also applicable to future events, future tournaments, as the meta evolves, as there are new combinations that probably become more powerful. So let's go ahead and see. Now you always get a little bit of an initial scrape sometimes with Dynamite, but not as regularly, because never stands up very quick and stays stable because of that white plastic around the needle. Now I'm usually expecting to see this end up in a draw, believe it or not. So let's see how it works. Yeah, see? It's just a total testament to how perfectly balanced and powerful these two are, is that they usually are just going to end up in a draw, and maybe after 10 battles, maybe one is 5, one is 5 or something. One wins 3, one wins 3. But again, very, very important to note just how powerful and dominating and balanced these two are. So right now, this has set up the current meta. It is very hard for attack-based Beyblades to win because this, again, has such a tanky build. The shock absorption, the drift just keeps on spinning. And with taper, it actually makes this somewhat dangerous as it moves around. And also, that's the other thing. As this moves around, even though it looks like it's going to run out of stamina, and you have a right spin attacker here perhaps, then when it gets down to the final contact, Vanish, part of its magic is that it always has a design that can utilize spin steel. So even if it slows down as it's spinning to the left, when a right Beyblade starts to hit it, boom, then it starts to gain more momentum and spin back. And then with the driver being drift, it just will finally get the last spin.